So what's going on with cystinuria? Ultimately, what's happening is you have amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. And so if you think about building a wall or a house, you put lots of bricks together and you get a house. It's the same thing with proteins. You put lots of amino acids together and you get proteins. And those proteins serve lots of different functions in your body. And so why do you eat protein from animals or plants that have lots of protein in it? We eat them to break down the protein into amino acids so that we can use them for other functions in our body. One area of protein that most people realize is muscle. Muscle is made of tons of protein, so we have to build that protein in our muscle, and we have to get it from somewhere. So amino acids are those building blocks of proteins. And what's going on is cystine is a normal amino acid. Everybody has cystine in their bodies, and it's one of the different amino acids that helps to build proteins. The difference is, however, that cystine, it's normal for cystine to end up in the urine when your kidneys are making urine. And what your kidneys do essentially is they filter your blood. They help filter your blood, make sure you have enough fluid in your blood or enough water to build up your blood so that your blood pressure is appropriate. So if you think about a really hot day and you're sweating a lot and then all of a sudden you feel kind of lightheaded or faint, it's because you don't have enough water or fluid in your bloodstream. And so that's what your kidney's job is, to help that balance there. And so if it's a really hot day and you're not drinking enough and you're sweating a lot, you may not go to the bathroom a lot because your kidneys are taking that water and causing you to hold on to it so that you can get your blood the correct amount to your organs, your heart, your lungs, your brain. And so I kind of went on a tangent there, but ultimately what I'm getting at is that when your kidneys are doing their job, it's normal for some cystine to end up into the urine. But the problem with people who have cystinuria is that once that cystine ends up in the urine, it's not supposed to be peed out, for lack of a better term. Excuse me. It's supposed to get pulled through a protein. And if you look right here, and my little arrow, there it is. Let's pull it up to where I'm talking about. This little thing right there, that's a protein. It actually sits inside your kidney. It's built of lots of amino acids, and that protein itself doesn't function properly. Its job is to take that cystine on the left side, pull it out of the urine, and put it back into your bloodstream. In patients who have cystinuria, you can't do that. So for folks who don't have cystinuria, your siblings, your parents who don't have it, they can have one good protein that pulls that cystine out of their urine, puts it back into their bloodstream, and when they actually go to urinate, there's almost no or very, very little cystine in their urine. And there you can see on the right side there. But what happens in patients who have cystinuria, again, is that your cystine isn't able to be pulled out of your urine. You get lots and lots and lots of it in your urine. They bump into each other. They form crystals. Those crystals bump into each other and form stones. And it happens at a really rapid rate in patients who have all the factors that lead to that. And we'll talk about that a bit later. Let me take a look at a question here. So there's a question about dietary proteins and which proteins might be worse. Well, you might think that, and I'm going to touch on this later, but you might think that proteins, if you're going to eat a lot of protein, then you wouldn't want to eat protein with cystine in it, because that would be giving yourself more cystine. That could then end up more cystine in your urine. Actually, oddly enough, patients who have cystinuria can't pull cystine out of animal proteins or plants and get it into your bloodstream. It doesn't get absorbed through your intestinal tract. So you actually can absorb another amino acid called methionine, and your liver will convert methionine into cystine. So what you need to do is avoid foods that contain high amounts of methionine, and I will talk about that a little bit later. There's lots of questions coming up. This is great. How can cystinuria be genetic if I'm the only one that has it? Well, mom and dad each have a bad gene, but in order to have cystinuria, just to review what I showed you before, you have to have two bad genes. And so mom and dad actually only have one bad gene, which means one of these proteins over here is working and one is not. One working protein is enough to prevent cystine stones from forming in most people. But in you guys, you have two of these proteins that both don't work, and so that cystine can't get pulled out of the urine.